The Marsh Boys podcast is brought to you by
Papa Earl's, Cajun seasoning at its best. Use it on chicken, beef, fish, vegetables, Bloody Marys, and everything in between. Check out their fish fry for that perfect golden crispiness and that great Cajun flavor.
And Top Down Decoys, the most affordable silhouette decoy on the market. Their horizontal and vertical styles are both a perfect fit for adding numbers to your snow, speck, and Canada spread.
You can check out all of our great sponsors through the link in any of our social media bios. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Hey, take it!
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Marsh Boys podcast. As always, I'm Brian.
I'm air conditioned.
We are air conditioned today. We have moved locations 30 yards from the 105-degree podcast studio to my bedroom that has air conditioning. And joining us today is none other than Jeff Coates. How you doing today, Jeff?
Good evening, guys. How you guys?
Great.
Good to see you now.
Great. It's been a while since we last talked.
It is. I said evening twice just now.
Yeah.
It has been a while, and I got to agree with you, man. I'm in the carving shop, and I turned the air conditioner back on so I can sit here and be halfway comfortable.
You have to. You can't do anything without sweating through all your clothes.
Oh, it's been terrible. Has it been just as bad the last 2 weeks down in Maryland as it been up here, like in the hundreds? Well, the feels like temp in 100. In the
yeah, I was gonna say yeah. The heat index, I think it peaked out at like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It was like 108, 107.
Yeah, that's what we
were in that range.
It's not any better down near Ocean City because you'd think like the water temperature or the water would keep the temperature down a little bit.
Yeah, and you're right. But the funny thing is, we lovingly refer to PBHQ, Pitboss World Headquarters. We're not that far from Ocean City, but man, like the temperature as you get inland, just a couple miles, it changes drastically. The other day, I think it was 80. It was 88 here, still in the morning, and Ocean City proper was 73 degrees, and we were 88. So
yeah,
I know we were down there two weekends ago for Riley's birthday, and it was hot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was bad.
I thought it was pretty nice.
Well,
at least we were jumping in the water and stuff.
That's fair. But
generally, typically, like especially with sea ducks, when we start, the ocean's slow to cool down in the fall, and then it's slow to warm up in the spring. Obviously, we're in summer now, but definitely in the spring, it's slow. It's the exact opposite, where they'll have heavy fog, and here it'll be crystal clear blue skies.
Mm-hmm.
So how are things at the Pitboss headquarters? Is everything? I know the last time we talked, you said you were just kind of settling in, getting the last touches done. Have you progressed any more on 100% completing it?
Well, last touches were just to get the county to sign off so we could live here. So that was that's actually, it was in late August. So we're coming up on a year anniversary there, but it was just a kind of I won't say a mad scramble because that sounds a little dramatic, but definitely it was a rush to get the old place cleaned out so we could get it sold, but at the same time, try to satisfy the county that we had everything done here that they would sign off. That's we are here 100% legally, and it's just the kind of thing where more often I just say at the current time it's time and money or money and time. We don't have the money, but we got the time, or then when we have the money, we don't have the time or can't find somebody to do whatever needs to be done kind of thing. So it's that kind of, I won't say feast or famine, but it's one or the other.
Yeah. No, I understand that completely.
That's good. You're all moved in. So are you relaxing now and all that, or you're like full blown getting ready for the season?
Nah, man, I'm sitting here in the carving shop. Karen's got me a whiteboard on the wall we draw on, and I've got the decoys that I need to get done still this year. That I owe people. Have some deposits, other stuff. I promised people to get done. I don't have deposits on, but I need to get that all done, as well as to my hard right things that are mine that I need to get some new ones made and to repair the old ones from last year so we can run over them this year. Mm-hmm. And got my month of July is going to be my carving month. And then that'll give me August, September to try to hopefully, I'm sure I'll spill into August a little bit, but try to get the bulk of my carving done in July, and then have August, September into October to paint and get everything done, and still get the duck boat ready, and some will be done before we know it, or at least in my mind it will be.
Hopefully.
So it sounds like you've got a pretty sizable backlog right now. How many do you think you carve a year?
Oh, right now I'm looking. There's 44 Scoter. I've got 28 teal, and there are 8 Harlequins that are on the board right now. So, I'm good at starting stuff. I'm not so good at to the completion that I'm 100% done. There's a lot of stuff I got carved last year that's sitting over the paint shop that's 50% painted that's left from last year too. So, once I can get out of here. I've got obviously these to paint, plus there's stuff sitting there from last season. There's a rig of widgeon over there that's 50% done. So it's just to answer your question, year to year, it just depends. I usually think I make about 100 birds a year. Some years more than others. But that was kind of the whole part, not part of it, but that was some of the ideology of trying to get this place done. That I would have I'm looking around. I don't know if it's well organized, but that I have a comfortable carving shop. That again, I got air conditioning here, which I've never had before, where I carved, and at the same time, I got some heat in here for when it's cooler. I can stand the cold. It's the humidity what kind of zaps me. So yeah. I do have to say, coming in here, even in the shop, I got one of those laser. I don't know what you call it. Thermometers, the red dot, you can kind of shoot laser gun. The thermometer gun.
Yep.
You know what? Yeah, I don't know exactly what the correct terminology is there, but at the peak of it, the metal duck boat inside in the shade with all the doors open, the highest. I like to play with that thing, especially the dogs. They'll chase those red dots around the floor all over the place. But the duck boat was 98.1 degrees. That's the highest that the duck boat has measured this year, and that's again that's in the shade and inside. Now, of course, too. I mean, the building does have a black roof on it. And it's not in the shop. The roof it's just got a little bubble wrap underneath it. It's not insulated. So I mean, there's some of those factors in there too. But got big garage doors on each side, so have a northwest breeze blows predominantly here, and even if it's hot, there's still good airflow moving through.
Yeah.
Now, you had brought up you're carving a set of Harlequins. Are those now? I know you can't shoot them in the U.S. in the Atlantic Flyway. Are they purely a Pacific bird, or do you get customers from like PEI and stuff like that up in Canada? Like I said, I'm not sure of the regulations on them in Canada on the Atlantic side.
Yeah, so I'm not the exact expert on this, but I will tell you in the Atlantic Flyway, in the Maritimes of Canada, as well as I know 100% in the United States in the Atlantic Flyway, that the Harlequin season is closed. So okay. Yeah, so somebody's going to shoot them. It's going to be on the West Coast and/or Alaska, and the season in the state of Washington. I've been fortunate. I shot them twice in the state of Washington, and once in Alaska, but. They closed the season in Washington. It was one bird a season. You got this. You got your sea duck card. They wanted you to record all the sea ducks that you shot, and you could shoot one Harlequin per person per season. So it wasn't like one a day. It was just one and you're done kind of thing. And I think that's been closed for 2 years in Washington, and now they're going to open it up slowly. That I think I heard it was a 30. You have to apply for a permit. And I think there was only going to be 35 permits available in Washington. I feel pretty confident that the number 35 is accurate. But if not, it's still going to be if that's not accurate, it's still, it's not more than 50 kind of thing.
I mean, it's still a good thing. And if you look all around the U.S., it looks like waterfowl numbers are on the rise. I mean, I think 2 years ago, if I'm correct, I could be off by a year. I know the national pintail limit got set back to 1. But if you ask any guy, west of Arkansas, that's all they see. Mainly like California hunters and stuff like that, they see a lot of pintails. But everything else from Canada geese to speckled-bellied geese to mallards, as you're saying, Harlequins, like it just seems like waterfowl itself, we've been having consistently good hatches the last 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is for this year. Honestly, I've not heard any numbers yet for this year. So I don't. Usually somebody emails me or sends me something, and I have not seen any numbers on what this year was. But yeah, I'd agree with you. Definitely been in a very liberal season framework for many years. If you guys really want me to date myself, believe it or not, and people, you're laughing. And when I say this to younger guys, I was telling them that duck season was the first license that I bought in Maryland. Duck season was 30 days, and it was a 3-bird limit. And I tell people that, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "That was duck season." No, it's 60 days. Well, it is 60 days currently, yes. I said, but when I first bought my first license, it was a 30-day 3-bird limit, and canvasbacks were closed. Wow. So things do change. But yeah, we've been probably for 22, 23 years. It's been the framework's allowed. It's liberal. It's a 60-day season.
Now, not to continue on the dating yourself thing, but what was the cause of that? Was that at the height of the, what was it, DDT thing, or what caused the such low numbers where they had such a small closed season back then?
Again, I'm not an expert on this, but I will tell you that so I want to rewind a second too. Duck numbers, I think it's not an accurate number of whatever they say the population is this year. In my mind, that's not the exact number of ducks, right?
It's an estimate.
I think of it as more like an index. So as long as they're doing it roughly the same each year, that index should be fairly accurate from season to season. But in the Atlantic Flyway, we can have a 30-day season, which we have had. There was a 45-day season, which I experienced some of that too, and then the most it can be is 60 days. So it's basically, it's just based on what they deem the duck population to be. And I can't tell you what numbers those are. To whatever the population is to make it a 30-day season, or a 45-day season, or a 60-day season. But you guys like Brant in the Atlantic Flyway is the only bird that they took this year's winter count in January, and that's how they judge the population of Brant in the Atlantic Flyway. They do it on the winter count. They don't really go up. And I'm not saying that they don't do some research on the nesting grounds, but they set the seasons for Atlantic Brant on that January winter bird count, and that's how they set the season. So Brant been very fortunate over the years. Almost had a 4-bird limit, but there were a couple of years there it was a 60-day season, 3 birds. Yeah. And during those years, I mean, Brant were everywhere. So my point in saying that is, now it's a 30-day 1-bird season, because there's at least, you guys can tell me differently from where you're from, but we definitely don't see Brant the way we saw them, in those seasons in the past.
It's very hit or miss with Brant.
The only reason I was asking those, because I know over time, for example, I know in the early 1900s, that was, it was a lot more closed down because they were shooting everything.
The market hunting area.
The market hunting era and all that stuff. And then I know when the whole pesticide thing happened, that killed all of them off too. So I didn't know if there was a big overarching reason for the 30-day limit, or.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think there's lots of things that go into the duck population. Just whether you've got a good, it hasn't been a good breeding spring where there's lots of water and lots of opportunity for birds to nest, or what the population is, how many ducks are there when they do fly back to go nest, and then what are the conditions when they get wherever they're going to get to nest. So yeah, I mean, there's all those things factor. Predators factor into it. Man-made, the pesticides, man-made factors are in there too to what duck numbers are. Mm-hmm. But again, the 30-day season, a 45 days and 60-day season, it's based on what they deem, what they think the true duck population is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed. I looked into the numbers this year, the estimated hatch numbers this year, because I've noticed just around me, I believe I was talking to another guy that's a part of the Mars Boys, is Zach. We were talking last week, and actually we were talking this morning about it. Not only in my area, but really in all of South Jersey, I think I've seen more goslings this year than I have any previous year. I don't know if it was just I mean, I really don't know what it was, but normally, you get lucky especially at the lake I always hunt. You see like 2 pairs with goslings. I believe there was, if I counted right, 13 pairs that had goslings this year. And he's saying, yeah, and he's saying at farm ponds on his farm, he's got goslings that he's never had before, and on lakes, there's multiple pairs that he's never seen before.
Well, you saw that behind my grandfather's house. They had, 9, and one of them was from another pair.
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty wild. Yeah,
or a late hatch, something.
I mean, the only thing, New Jersey makes up for the goose season right this year because we have the 15 bird per day. So the guys get their fill in September. I like chasing migrators, and I think we did look this if they actually put it into stone. I believe New Jersey cut back our goose season from a 45-day 3-bird to a 30-day 3-bird this year.
I think we talked about that with Riley.
Yeah. Well, you get into that. You get in too, like in our area, the Chesapeake Bay, where the Atlantic population goose, the nest on the Ungava Peninsula. I mean that is the bird that they say it traditionally migrates here, and that's our migratory bird. But you could have every bird from New York and Connecticut and Massachusetts and every state north of you and me, show up here, and or all those local birds that you're talking about. But that's again when they go up on the Ungava Peninsula and count. If that population's in bad shape. It doesn't matter how many of the other birds we see here around us locally.
Yeah.
They're going to base our migratory bird season on what that AP goose, the Ungava Peninsula goose population is.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I am very thankful that we do have a nice resident population because as somebody who is a goose hunter, like a goose hunting lover first, I definitely get my fill in September. As we were talking about like what we do afterwards. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast or not, but I said, I was talking to it last week with Rich and Zach. I said, as much as I love goose hunting like that, hunting 80-degree days for 4 weeks in a row, it burns you out.
Literally.
And I like to take a week
goose hunting.
Yeah, I'm almost glad to see October 1st hit some years.
Yeah, 100%.
But so other than decoy carving, I know you're still getting everything set up with the house. Is there any fun downtime you guys get to enjoy this summer? Whether it be fishing, working with the dogs, which we'll definitely get into here in a minute. But
we haven't. Karen and I, we love to fish, but we must not love to fish that much because we have not fished. And the last fish we caught was in October, 2 Octobers ago on PEI, a tuna, and that's truly the last time that she and I fished. Just all this other stuff kind of gets in the way of that. And then, and dogs. Yeah. I mean, the dogs have definitely, I don't mean in a bad way, but they've definitely consumed our life as far as, not being able to get away. We, late April, early May, we like to take a trip, maybe about an hour and a half south of where we're at down in Watcha Creek, Virginia, on Virginia's eastern shore. A little town there. And we love to flounder fish, fluke fish, if you will, down there. And we haven't done that. We keep saying, "Hey, we're going to do it," and it just doesn't happen. Everything else gets in the way, and next thing you know, kind of time has passed. But, So, what do we do? Downtime? We really, honestly, we don't have any downtime. It's I guess enjoying what we have here is that's the not there's really downtime, but that's our enjoyment these days.
There is nothing wrong with that. I've learned.
Yeah,
being happy where you're at, it's nothing wrong with that at all.
I mean, we didn't do it specifically for dogs, but I mean, we definitely had dogs in mind when we did this. The entire 3.5 acres is not fenced yet, but a good portion of it is. So the dogs, especially the younger dogs, they have kind of free reign of everything. The barn dominium style, post frame construction style house, the shop, and then the house that we have, concrete floors. It's made for dogs.
Yeah. So how is Scooter coming along? I know you post a lot of updates.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, she's doing well. I got her through swim bys and doing I did channel kind of the heat and humidity really just got out over there as early as I could this morning and got some channel blinds in and just trying to get her. I need to do some cheating singles with her still, and I got my September, early October mapped out of what I try to where I want to get her into some tests and see what she can do, and then the puppies themselves, I'd like to get them force fetched, and kind of at the same time, it may be a little fast pace for those guys, just the timeline, for the September, October hunt test. But definitely want to see if they're able to get them in the loop and get them started. But with Scoter, I assume. I want to come across sounding arrogant about this. I don't. I say, oh, she's a master hunter. But yeah. I mean, my goal for her is really to be as far as field trials goes, is to be an all-age dog. And if a dog can place in a qualifying stake, qualifying stake in field trials is like I don't want to say, I guess do a drug reference, but a master hunt test on steroids. It's a big master hunter. So if she can, kind of hold her own in a qualifying stake, I would assume not that she's going to pass every master test that's out there, but a master test in theory should be a tad bit easier than what a qualifying stake should be. So my real goal for her is to see what if I can win a qualifying stake with her is what that's my short term goal with her.
Mm-hmm. So with the Master Hunter program, now that you have to, I'm not very in tune with this style of like the field test, and I don't want to say competition because I don't think the way it's set up it's really a competition, but you have to complete 5 of them to become a Master Hunter, correct?
So yeah, so I'm referring to AKC hunt tests and field trials.
Okay.
And so in hunt tests we have junior hunter, senior hunter, and master hunter. So for Master Hunter, if she would have her senior title, she only needs to have 5 passes. If you just run a dog in Master Hunter and the dog does not have a senior title, then you need 6 passes actually. So for junior hunter, she's a junior hunter, so that now she only needs 4 passes to be a senior hunter. If she didn't have her junior hunter, she would need 5 passes. So if she gets her senior hunter, that saves her 1 pass. 1 pass on a master. So dogs in the past, I kind of ran them in senior and master at the same time, just because it's going to save you. It's going to save you 1 master pass if you're short on time.
Okay.
Either in the spring or the fall, it helps you out that way. Plus, too, I guess in theory, a senior hunter should be just a tad bit easier, a lower level test than what a master hunter test would be.
Okay.
So, and in hunt test, you're being judged against the standard, right? So it's our dogs are not in competition with each other. Our dogs are being judged against the standard. Whereas in a field trial, there is going to be, whatever the stake is, there is going to be, the dogs are in competition with each other, and there's going to be a winner.
Oh, okay.
So, 1, 1st, 2nd, 3rd place, 4th place, a reserve jam, and then jams, which are judges' awards of merit. So kind of like honorable mentions.
Okay.
So there's going to be in field trials, there's going to be, your dogs are against each other. If I had multiple dogs entered, my dogs are against each other, right? So there's going to be a winner.
Okay. Yeah, I've talked about this long episodes ago. We used to run coon dogs, red bones specifically, and we would run them in UKC competitions. And it was same thing you're talking about with the field test. It is a, scoring competition. 1 dog wins and, all that, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. And I think it's, I want to say one of my cousin's dogs actually got to night champion, which is you win 5 competitions, and then a grand night champion was 10 competitions. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm totally out of tune with this whole world. Like, I don't have a hunting dog. What goes into the master class and what goes into the field test? What do they judge on? Like, how does all that work?
Well, in the hunt test, basically, the standard would be, the standard or the test is going to be to see if how well your dog would do in a hunting situation. Okay. So you're not actually shooting birds from the line, but it's kind of in AKC, it's kind of to try to represent a hunting situation. Is it to the T where everybody's sitting in the blind and, the dog's sitting there with you and everything happens? No. But it's the way that American Kennel Club has come up with to, again, the standard, whatever the junior standard is, which basically is, in my mind, is your dog force fetched, that the dog actually delivers to hand. Junior hunter, you can hold the dog, so you're going to get 2 land singles. You can actually hold the collar. The bird, the single goes down, send your dog out, bring it back, and as long as you can grab, you can't pick the bird off the ground. As long as you can grab it out of the dog's mouth, however you get it, just the dog has to deliver it to you somehow. Doesn't have to sit down and be all proper, like it's kind of the old the junior hunter grab, man. Like as the dog runs back to you, just grab the bird out of its mouth.
Yeah, that's Goose's kind of bring it back.
Yeah. So junior hunter, you get 2 of those land singles. Hopefully, you pass both of those, and then there's going to be 2 water singles. And out of those 4 marks, again, you can hold the dog, and as long as it delivers to hand, you get your pass. You get 4 passes. You're a junior hunter. Kind of in senior hunter, the next level up, the 2 marks that you saw in junior hunter, they would be a double. The dog has to be steady. So now you can't hold the dog. Dog has to be steady. Steady the shot. The birds go down. You pick the birds up, and then outside of those marks, you're going to run a land blind. And there's you're going to honor one of the series. Usually it's the second series, but sometimes the first series. But you have to honor another dog working. One of the series is a walk up where basically you kind of walk up to the line, and as things go, the birds start getting thrown. You can blow your whistle or say sit, and hopefully the dog does not break. Sits down and watches everything for you. Mm-hmm. And again, same thing. The water singles that were your junior hunter, basically that's going to be a water double, and outside of the marks, you're going to have a water blind. And if you had your junior hunter, you get 4 passes in senior hunter, and you kind of keep moving up. Master hunter is going to be generally 3 series: a land water series, and then a water series. You can have multiple blinds. There needs to be a land blind, a water blind. One series needs to be a walk up. Again, the dog has to be steady to shot, does not break, as well as honor another working dog.
Does somebody actually fire like a blank or something, or do they just play like the sound of it over a speaker?
No, I mean generally not every bird thrown, but is a live duck or a pheasant. Mm-hmm. But no, one of the birds, you're going to get a flyer out of. So at the gun stations out in the field, they're going to use birds. One of them would be a flyer, a live bird shot, and then the other ones are dead birds that just get thrown. So you walk up to the line, set the dog down. The judge signals for the marks, and out in the field at the blind, you hear somebody go quack quack quack. They throw a bird, shoot. Wait, count to 3, signal for the next bird, and the same thing. Attention getter, whack 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 out in the field, throw, shoot, and then generally the flyer would be the go bird, where it's very exciting for the dogs. It is a live bird, and there's generally at least 2 guns going off. So it's bang. Instead of just 1 pop, could be 6 shots. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of elevates the excitement level in the dogs. They definitely know which station the flyer is.
Yeah.
So. But no, it's actual birds. They're used in AKC. They are using birds.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I know those are probably total noob questions, but I know Brian's talked about the whole coon dog thing, and you raise the dogs and all that stuff. I know nothing about the dog world, so thanks for clearing that up a little bit.
Yeah, I would love to get Goose at least his junior hunter, because he's got a season and a half under his belt right now. He could go retrieve that, especially me holding him. But the issue with it would be very, very hard for me to get the paperwork done to get him AKC registered. That's the only reason.
I think they've made it a little bit easier. It doesn't have to be. There is ways of going around it. That even if your dog wasn't, at birth wasn't registered, I don't know the exact procedure, but I believe it to be fairly easy. Like for instance, we have good friends in Canada, and we talk about maybe as we go up there, we could run the CKC, and our dogs are not registered CKC, and so I called up and they made it sound like it's pretty easy to do that. And I understand AKC is I don't think it's that difficult.
Oh, okay. I definitely have to look into that. Like I said, and it wouldn't be just. It would be an accomplishment for me. You know, I've trained him. He's my first. I mean, I had a lab before him that probably would have been a pretty good hunting dog. But it's my first dog that I've trained fully. I've learned with him. He's learned with me, and he's turned out. You know, he's not an exceptional dog by any level, but he is the perfect dog for what I need a dog for.
Oh yeah, I mean, in junior hunter, I mean, like you'll see all walks of life of dogs. You'll see believe it or not, standard poodle. There's poodles. I've judged here. A quick little funny. Maybe it's not that funny, but I chuckled a little bit. I judged AKC stuff, and there was a senior test that I judged that a friend of mine has a lab, and he was kind of giving me grief. His dog got dropped, and he was giving me grief about the test. And there was the fluffiest, whitest standard poodle that passed, and I was like, "Yeah, Cal, I don't know," but I said the poodle right there, like that dog passed. I mean, no offense to people that have poodles, but I mean, like the poodle did the job. Like how, like you're telling me your dog, like it was too hard of a test. I'm telling you that poodle did a great job, kind of thing. So it's opened up to Nova Scotia duck tollers, flat coats, curly coat retrievers, poodles, like obviously labs, Chesapeakes, Goldens. Probably missing one other dog in there too.
Yorkies. I can't see a hunting poodle. Like this is a really hard thing to imagine.
What's wild is there's a guy on TikTok who has a hunting Boston Terrier. And he takes it out. I think he's down in Louisiana or Texas, and he takes his dog out during teal season. And that dog goes and gets them teal, which is wild to me. But
when Karen was vet tech and she had a dog come in, it was a pit bull, and the guy had it trained. The guy shot geese, and he had it trained that this pit bull picked up geese.
I have an easier time seeing the pit bull than the poodle, though.
Well, see, Cy Robertson made the poodle famous again. He there was an episode of Duck Dynasty where he went and got a poodle as a hunting dog.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Do you have any plans to breed Scoter and divvy out the puppies from her, or how are you figuring about going about with her?
We want to see where she gets. I don't want breeding her to slow her down. You only have so many. I've really come to realize this. Not that I didn't know we were getting older each day, because obviously we do. But this last when we bred Rye and had the puppies, I gotta be honest with you. When they were 4 weeks old, I kind of sat down and did the math and thinking about years and on and on and on. When these puppies are 12 years old, I'm not really going to like the age that I'm how old I'm going to be, right? So I don't want to slow down. Breeding a dog, definitely takes. I don't know. Like it definitely. I bet you definitely take at least 6 months of your time that you're not going to be able to run that dog. A good 60 days when till the puppies are whelped. Then she's for another 8 weeks she's going to kind of look after them, and during all that time she hasn't trained, and you definitely maybe it's even a little bit more like 8 months, but definitely I'd say you're going to lose that dog for 6 months that you can't go and do tests or trials, and so I'd really like to more like see what she can do, and when we get into October, I guess that'll tell me a good bit more, because she'll be running some stuff by then, and we'll kind of have a better indicator of where she's at.
So you'd like to see her, in better terms, finish out and then kind of decide where to go with that route.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, just kind of round numbers. I mean, I wouldn't want to breed her till she's at least 5 or 6.
Okay.
So that gives me plenty of time to do. She's 18 months old now, so plenty of time. Well, I won't say plenty of time. It definitely gives us time to do other things, and Karen and I kind of go back and forth. I've not bred many dogs, but the first dog I had that I bred twice, she had just turned 6 when she had the pups, and the second breeding she had just turned 8. Okay. So Karen, in Karen's mind, that's a little on the older side, but I don't know. She didn't have any issues, and that dog lived to be almost 15. Yeah. So so it didn't. I can't say exact or any, but yeah, each dog's different. So we just kind of take the approach to wait and see where we're at.
So, not to jump from topic to topic, but I know we kind of talked about ducks already. Are you excited? Is it killing you trying to get to, I guess, late October, or have you been in the game so long that you're very patient when it comes to waiting on the season?
I'd say a little bit of both. I mean, I get anxious. I get anxious as the season gets closer, especially when we've been talking about heat and humidity. And as the first couple days of wherever it falls in September, that you walk outside and there's that crystal blue sky, that there's no humidity, and it feels right. That gets me excited. When I step outside tomorrow and it's already 76, 78 degrees and the humidity's 80%. Like, nah, that doesn't really get me that excited about the season getting here. But no, it's a mixture of both, because I still have a lot of things to do. But at the same time, yeah, I do get excited about it. And I guess something that I kind of maybe I downplayed a little bit, but I mean, duck season is money to me, right? So it's what I do. Guiding is what I do. I don't want to make it about money, but it's a chance for me to, that I get back in and I become a little flush with income again.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's really, it's part of, there's that aspect of it too. Talk to a lot of people that do lots of different walks of life, and, duck hunting, goose hunting, waterfowl means a lot of different things to them. And like, to me, it definitely, again, I don't want to make it about money, but it definitely has dollar signs, associated with it for me.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it too. So.
Now, I recently saw a statistic right when this heat wave started. Not to jump around on topics, but like what Brian said. But I wanted to get your opinion on this. They said that it seems like our climate's like we moved 200 miles south. Like we're closer to Carolinas. Your climate's probably closer to like Florida or something like that. Do you see this new weather pattern that we've gotten over the last couple years affecting the seasons?
Well, I mean, from where we're at right here, in Ocean City or very close to Ocean City, and we just really have not had a winter and you can just move. Originally, I was born in Havertide Grace, so Harford County, Upper Bay, Susquehanna River. I have some good friends in Harford County still, and we're not that far apart. But their weather, at least temperature wise, is much cooler, much colder. Where we're at, we just really haven't had a winter. Haven't had ice. I jokingly I walk around in shorts pretty much all year long anyway. But I can tell people like, hey, I walk, no issue. I'm not cold yet, kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or we get a couple of days where, like I call it, where it spikes low, where it does get cold, but then it goes right back up to 40 degrees.
Yeah.
So I think it's just kind of weather patterns, and I think we're due a winter. We haven't had snow here. The first year that the year that we purchased the property, we had a really good snow. I think it was not during the season, but it was in late February. We had 18 inches of snow here, which is a lot for our area. But we kind of, Karen and I joke about, if we see some flurries, we get excited because, hey, it's snowing, and it's there's a couple flakes falling, but that's about all we've seen, since we've been here. And we would, we don't need 3 feet of snow, but at the same time, it'd be kind of cool just to, have some snow and have a doesn't have to be super cold, but have a nice winter.
Yeah. It's been pretty much the same up here. Last year was a very mild winter. I remember duck hunting the last week of the season. We went duck hunting, and I believe the low was like 52 degrees.
Yep.
With no wind, sunshine. Weird. I mean, it was just we had a couple cold days last year, but nothing that sticks out to me.
Mm-hmm. I always like to say, maybe not necessarily for geese, because geese are maybe a little more imprinted on the areas that they go. But I always say, one of my sayings is ducks don't have a conscience. So if they have open water and they have food, they don't need to fly, 2,000 miles. They can fly 500 miles, spend the winter comfortably because they have open water and they have food. They don't need. Why do they need to fly any further, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing I tell people too, I mean, it's just because we're not from there. I've experienced it a couple of times on the Great Lakes, but lake effect snow, we don't see that here. But every time they keep saying, "Hey, lake effect, lake effect, lake effect," that means the Great Lakes are not frozen over. There's open water there, right? So when you have even like let's just say football and the Buffalo Bills, right? So when it's late January and there's playoffs there or football games going on and they're talking about lake effect snow, it means the Great Lakes are still not there. Well, can't say there's not ice on the lakes, but there's definitely a large percentage of Lake Erie, that is still unfrozen because that's where the moisture's coming from to make that snow, right? So, lake effect snow, that means those Great Lakes are not frozen.
So the reason I brought that up is if the 200-mile south analog is accurate, and I see some of the maps of like duck migration patterns and stuff like that. We're the southern tip for I can't remember. We're the southern tip for several species. And if the 200-mile south thing is true, and like you said, ducks don't have a conscience, do you think we're going to start seeing them not even come down as far as us? Maybe stop at New York, maybe stop in like up near the Great Lakes, and that's all the farther south they need to go. Like let's say 10 years out, and I know it's all just speculation. If this pattern continues, what do you think will happen?
Well, again, I would think as long as ducks have open water, probably not that they don't need food, right? Obviously, but I would think they probably open water is more for them roosting and overnight roosting, right? Mm-hmm. I would think that as long as they have open water, there's got to be some food around somewhere for them, and as long as they have open water, I mean, they're probably pretty good to go. That they don't need to travel any further south or east or west, whichever direction they're going. I just as long as they have food and water, I don't think that they will migrate as far. There's other birds that doesn't matter. Blue-winged teal, right? They're heading south and into Mexico, or trying to get down as far as they can, right? So those guys are gonna do that regardless. But other birds, our friends on PEI, like they've not had a winter. Yes, they do get snow, but they've not really had a winter in the past couple. Or so much so not to sidestep that, but it just we're going to go up even later this year just because we would like to experience a little bit of winter up there. The times we go, late October and November, like there's still mosquitoes and it's still you don't see ice. It's water puddles in the field, not ice puddles. Not ice puddles. Yeah. You don't have skim ice in the morning, right? So it's just again, I think that ducks don't have a conscience. So if they have open water and they have food, they don't need to travel as far as. They don't need to come to Maryland. How about?
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of guys had a good year this year is because the birds came down here, and like you're saying, they got open water, they got food. There wasn't a whole lot of weather to push them south. They were comfortable where they were at for the majority of the season, and guys were shooting the same birds. Not to discredit anybody hunting them, but I'm just saying, I don't think, I don't think them birds moved as much as they did, in years prior.
Well, and just like I was talking about the teal, I mean, I would tell you that surf scoter and common scoter, which is the majority of scoter we see, 50-50 mix, and they fly on the calendar. They don't, I'm not saying weather doesn't affect them, but I don't need it to be cold for scoter to migrate. Yeah. It's on the calendar. So late October, it's going to be 78 degrees today, right? It's a little cool in the morning. A little bit of frost maybe, but it's going to be the sun's still hot, sun's still warm, but scoter still migrates south. Old school and some other diving ducks. Yeah, it does take a little bit of winter, a little bit of weather to get them to come this far.
I almost wondered if old squall were kind of on that whole calendar schedule as well, because in every year it seems like that no matter the weather, they're popping up mid to late December in our area, New Jersey, or at least where we hunt. You don't really see them in November. You don't really see them that first week of December. But after that, they kind of start trickling through.
Yeah, so not to take point to that, but I would tell you that late in the season, that to me would be kind of weather driven, if you will. Yeah, because it has been cold north of us. Generally, typically, it should be cold north of us somewhere by then. But those October 14th or 15th, it's still kind of it's very mild here.
Yep.
And they do show up. It seemed to be, I would always think, not a bunch of them, but I would see my first old squaw like October 25th.
Oh,
generally.
okay.
But I mean, that's one. I'm not saying that's not a flock of them,
Gotcha.
but like to say, hey, there's an old squaw. But yeah, but I would think more. To me, you had to be into December to see, bunches. When I say bunches, like flocks of old squaw.
Mm-hmm. So, again, I'm jumping around because ADHD is terrible in this room.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you about how your new podcast is doing, because I don't think we've actually talked to you about that, and I know you've had Riley on and stuff like that. How are you liking it? How are you doing? Like, what's going on with all that?
I had a big text message with somebody else about that today. To me, so we did our 52 weeks with the sponsors that we had, mm-hmm. and we sat down and we, everybody said, hey, well, like, what kind of numbers, and I don't know what's good. I don't know what's bad, what's poor. But like we did in 52 weeks, we did 57 episodes, and we were just over 35,000 listens or views. So we put it on YouTube also.
Nice.
So YouTube, Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. We were over in 57 episodes. We were over 35,297 views. I think listens or views. So I don't. To me, that was actually much more. I was kind of like, wow, that sounds like it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know if that is
Well,
I don't know if that is good or bad. I don't know.
I mean, I think it's great, but on a more personal note, do you enjoy it?
Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit of I won't say work, but it's definitely effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know.
Like good.
Yeah, I was just gonna make the comment. It's starting to, we're almost at the 2-year mark. It's starting to feel a little like work now that we're trying to grow from a podcast to, something of a business.
Mm-hmm. It does feel like that sometimes, but like on days like today, I really enjoy it. Like I feel,
yeah.
Like,
well, thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh,
yeah, we really went in with the plan. So we started in June of 23. Well, I'd had with off and on. I tried doing it many different times. I think probably, even though I just said 57, I think there's like 230 attempts, but the last 57 have been very structured.
Yeah.
But the idea was, in the beginning we were doing really well. We're like, hey, duck season's coming up, so let's get a couple in the bank. So we're not I wanted to launch them every Monday morning. So let's get a couple so we're not scrambling at the last minute trying to get something done. And we did fairly well like through July and August, and then the closer we got to the duck season, it did kind of become a struggle. And Karen's really good about it, so she plays along nice with it, and sometimes she's on me about doing it. But I have to tell you, and it came up again today. Like a lot of it, it's just Karen and I talking, So we just kind of ramble and talk about, topics, but it's a lot of times it's just she and I. So, which I like to talk, so it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
And it's probably been more of her trying to how should I say it? Just she gets and understands me. So she's bought into, yes, this is what I am and what I do. So she's become more comfortable with it. I guess is what I'm trying to say. So in the beginning she would maybe be like the Ricky Bobby, like what do I do with my hands kind of thing. She'd be like, I don't really know. I don't know. And then just, the more we've done this, over the years, like she's right in step, and she knows. A lot of times she's asking me, well, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to do this, do that, do this, do that? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So she's on top of it. So it's been fun. I'd like to see it grow too. I don't know, especially this time of the year for me. As I sit here, I listen to you guys. I listen to a lot of stuff just because. And I don't take this. I don't mean this disrespectfully to you. I just need noise. And
I
sometimes
understand 100%.
yeah, and sometimes the music's good, but other times I want to at least have my brain think about something.
Yeah.
Versus just have it be music. So yeah, like I kind of binge on. I was telling the friend I was texting, I was like, man, I'm doing like 12, 14 listening to 12 to 14 podcasts a week just because, because I just need some noise,
Yeah.
Good.
I've been an equipment operator. Well, I'm a mechanic now. I was actually an operator today, filling in for a guy. Priorly, before I switched to the sister company that I'm in now, I was an operator for 8 years, loader operator, and I can honestly say after the first year, music got very old to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
You are because you only like what you like, and there's only so many new songs coming out every week and stuff like that you enjoy, but there's a new podcast every day, and even in the hunting space, there's hundreds and hundreds of podcasts, and me, I'm a I'm a big like crypto guy. Crypto's not like the.
Oh, I thought you were about to say going into the money. I'm like, since when?
No, like Bigfoot and stuff like that. Like that stuff.
Yep.
I could talk about that off air, but
I'm going to make
it is
fun of you.
super interesting to me, like the crypto scientists and stuff like that. And there's just so many different takes and point of views, and like you said, 12 to 14 podcasts a day. That makes your day fly by because your brain's thinking about something.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry, not doing a day, but like in my week's time. You know what I mean? Like
I got
like,
you. I got you.
Yeah, I sit down and I was even telling this fella, like some of them, like I try to listen to them. I was like, man, I can't. Yes, I just need noise, but I need different noise, and I click next, go to somebody, a different one.
Yeah.
So I've got them all saved, and listen to the most current ones, and then some of them, I'll go back through and listen to old episodes, or somebody's name pops out, guest or whatever, and I'm interested to hear that. So, but I do listen to a lot of them, and there is a lot of it out there, right?
Oh yeah.
But in some of the stuff, some things I do listen that I do learn. I take somebody's advice, and especially in the dog training world, there's some stuff like, wow, I didn't think about that, or something gets said, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. I didn't think about that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be insulting anybody, but like some of the duck podcasts don't really do a whole lot for me,
Yeah.
So it just depends, it just depends.
I will say I have listened to a bunch of episodes of your podcast, and from the beginning to the end, it would be funny because randomly in the middle of the episode you would just blurt out, "Well, Karen, what do you think? What do you have to say?" And in the beginning, she would kind of clam up, and it would very quickly divert back to you. And I believe like the last maybe 10 episodes, it seemed like she had opened up more and was ready for you to bring up that kind of comment and had a lot more to say.
Well, thank you. And she'll tell you, if she was in this conversation, we need to have somebody on. We need to have somebody on. We need. And it turns, kind of just turns into us. Let's pick a topic and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what's going on with this, that, or the other, and let's talk about that. And it's real easy. If somebody doesn't like it, I do it to people. I hit next, and let's listen to the next one, kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is. We have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it, and it's something we do put effort into. Like I said, I don't think it's to say it's work. Maybe that might be too strong, but like we find ourselves that we've got to put some effort into this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, speak.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep cutting you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
That's the one thing I hate about a phone call versus and I'm telling you, I know you've invited us down a couple times and we've talked about it before. We will make it down to you, I promise.
Yeah, whenever you want.
But like I said, the only thing I hate the phone, because you get like a pause, you're like, oh, I can jump in here, and it's just a lapse in the phone. But anyway, now that we're going to kind of wrap it up. As always, we really appreciate. I believe this is the third or fourth time we've had you on, and we always have a great time. We always appreciate talking to you.
Yeah,
we are very appreciative if you've taken time out of your day to talk to us. Do you have any dates open this year? Or are you all booked out?
Somehow or another, I actually booked Christmas Eve and Christmas. I didn't think that they were going to get booked, but I did book those to a family of 3, so those days got taken. I have 3 days: October 12th, which is the opening day, October 16th, which is the next Tuesday, and then November 29th. But other than that, the 60 days. Our duck season in Maryland, we don't have. Well, we do have a zone. We have a western zone, eastern zone. A little bit different. I know you guys have zones, but our zones are kind of, the two zones are far apart. But it's a week in October, the second and third week of third and fourth with leap year this year. Everything's behind or back a little bit. But third, fourth week in November, and then mid-December to the end of January is our 60 days.
All right. Well, you want to if there's anybody listening wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Yeah, thank you. If you just want to Google Jeff Coates, COATS, or Pitboss Waterfowl, PITBOSS Waterfowl, probably going to be the first thing that pops up. And the number any phone number that you see, that's my cell phone. It's always on. I do my best about, if I don't answer, to get back with everybody. So I'm pretty easily found. And somebody wants to go, if they can think far enough in advance to the 2025-26 season, that's what we're booking currently now. So life is good.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff.
Guys, I appreciate you both. Thanks for having me on.
Yep,
yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Have a good evening.
You too.